Next up is John the Bull Makdessi. Are you there, man?
Yes, I'm here. How are you guys?
Good. So, just want to get things rolling with you. How did you get your start in mixed martial arts?
Just to make a long story short, I was doing kickboxing around 2006. I was finishing up. I was practicing and competing kickboxing, and I fought some big names in Quebec, and I was doing very well in kickboxing, and it just pretty much died out in Montreal, Quebec, in Canada. So at that time I had my eyes on Pride. At that time, I was watching Pride a lot, and I was a big fan of Crow Cop, and I was watching him fight, and I just, it gave me some inspiration to. It was basically a new challenge for me, and I knew that at the end of the day, the ultimate challenge for any martial artist is to be mixed martial arts, So it was just another challenge that I wanted to pursue. I practiced in Taekwondo. I competed in Taekwondo. I fought high level in Taekwondo. I was very fortunate to, I fought the Olympic juniors. I won gold in Olympic juniors in Taekwondo, Canadian champion, and then I fought in karate. I competed in karate. I competed in I won the WK Golden Karate Championship. Then I fought in kickboxing. I won the title, Canadian Eastern Championship title. So I was just I love competing. It's just in my blood. I love fighting and martial arts as a whole. So I'm just very lucky to be a part of it.
That's awesome. Now, how old were you when you got involved in a mixed martial art?
I started practicing at the age of 6, and pretty much the stories I heard from my family, my older brother, because my older brother, he put me into Taekwondo, and apparently my sensei, I started training, and in a matter of 2 weeks, he gave me a yellow belt and put me in a competition because.
Oh wow.
Because white belts don't really compete, So I don't really remember. All I remember is people are telling me stories that. In 2 weeks training Taekwondo, I did a first tournament, and I beat everybody. And my first time I fought, I won the gold trophy. Because in Taekwondo you have to fight 3-4 times to win the gold.
For sure.
So it was amazing to, not everybody. I think that I'm very lucky to, not too many people, find their talent. There's one of my favorite movies was The Bronx Tale, and Robert De Niro, one of my favorite actors. He mentioned the movie. He's like the saddest thing in life is a waste of talent, and I guess my talent. I guess I found my passion of fighting in an early age, and unfortunately. I actually I stopped martial arts I had a gap for like 4 or 5 years. I stopped martial arts because I was, it just turned out in a little. What happened was basically my sensei was like a father to me. Basically when he quit, when he closed the gym, I got a little bit depressed, and I stopped martial arts and I went into other things. Throughout my high school years, through senior and junior high school, I was doing other stuff, and I felt very empty. And I decided to find another gym. It's very hard for me. I changed 4 different coaches. If you think about it,
wow.
To go to different gyms, changing gyms all the time. It's very tough because it's a bond. It's not like it's just whatever. I just jump to gym to gym. You build a relationship with your coach. There's a chemistry. It's like a father. You become like your father. You trust him with your life, and to always. To all my coaches, they pretty much left me. They always told me, for some reason I outgrew them, and I was always hungry to learn more, and they kept, I changed 3 coaches, and they're amazing mentors. They all taught me very important stuff in martial arts, and I was very lucky to have them, and then that's when one of my coaches told me to go to TriStar Gym. That was the gym to be to go to my next level.
For sure. And let's just briefly mention TriStar Gym. I want to just talk about the guys that are there and who you like to work with.
Yeah, my biggest inspiration and role model is David Loazo. I was doing amateur MMA. I was doing underground fighting, and he actually came up to me. and he came up to me. I know who he was. He was already a pro. He was fighting and everything. You know, he was in the Canada circuit at that time. So maybe that was roughly maybe 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And he came up to me after one of my fights. He goes, man, you gotta go pro. He goes, you're a very talented person. You know, you should go pro. And it's stuck by my head ever since. You know, and I went up to Fraz and I said, Fraz, I want to go pro. And you know, I worked hard, and here I am. 3 years later.
Nice. Okay. This question I was going to ask you, but you basically talked about it. I was going to ask you why you made the jump from kickboxing to MMA, but you mentioned it basically died out in Montreal. 22-0 kickboxing record, is that correct?
Yes. It's a combination of my kickboxing is a combination of Muay Thai and kickboxing. Yeah.
Okay. And 22-0 in that, and then you're 9-0 in MMA. You must be very confident at this point.
You know what it is? It's not. I mean, it's always it's a lot of pressure on my end. Not because of the record. I don't really care about the record. My main concern is just to try to fight, have good, exciting fights, and try to be the best I can be. You know, like I said, I'm very lucky to be at this point. For me, every time I fight, I look at it as when I win or lose. At the end of the day, for me, the most important thing is to perform. You know, so my biggest worry is to be there. You know, I'm never 100% physically. I'm always injured, you know, to be honest with you. There's always injuries. I train so hard every day in, day out. There's no way I can go into a fight 100%. The only way I can go into a fight 100% if I train very easy. But I train so hard day in, day out. So, you know, for me physically, it's always a challenge for me, you know. So at the end of the day, it's about my mental state, and I'm very confident that mentally, you know, I prepare myself as much as possible for Dennis Hallman. He's a dangerous fighter. He's this guy. He has a lot of fights. He has a lot of experience, and I'm aware of that. And he fought good guys, and people are counting him out because he's a little bit older. But for me, I don't care. You know, and fighting MMA, especially MMA. I mean, just because he's in his 30s doesn't mean nothing. The guy knows at the end of the day he's still fighting, and any person that's still fighting is still a threat, you know. So
for sure. Now, when you're fighting, do you stick to the game plan, or do you let your fighting instinct take over? How do you work in a fight?
Well, the way I look at fighting is I look at, you know, one of my head coaches, Fraz Zahabi. You know, he made me just like. He's very experienced, you know. I have many coaches I work with, you know. I work with different, you know. I have a kickboxing coach, I got a boxing coach. I got different. What I do is basically I go and train with different disciplines, and then I try to combine and I put them all together. You know, I don't train under one gym. TriStar is basically, of course, TriStar is the main gym. You know, it's like, you know, Fraz is my MMA head coach. You know, so basically what we do is, he knows that I go work with different people and everything, and he tries to put it all together for me. You know, he gives me, you know, there's always a strategy. Of course, there's a strategy. You know, you stimulate every week. I try to stimulate the fight. You know, I work at different scenarios. You know, I try to work at different scenarios, and you know, make sure I cover all the angles. You know, I try to cover all the angles that maybe in the fight is going to happen. So. You know, I have all my faith is on my coaches. You know, I trust them. Whatever they tell me, I do. So basically, you know, I go out there and try to fight the way I want to fight. You know, I want to fight my fight, and then someone's gonna fight his fight, and the best man is gonna win. For
sure, and obviously that fight is this weekend, UFC 140. Hallman has 39 submissions in 50 wins. How would you rate your ground game?
Well, of course, he has more experience than me in the ground game. That's normal, but I'm very confident because you know, in a sense of you know, there's no secrets. I know what I know what he's capable of doing, and the difference between me and him is I'm evolving. You know, and I believe I have more arsenals and tools than he has. You know, I have 8 different disciplines under my belt. You know, he's a submission guy. I practice wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, taekwondo, karate, you know, ground game. So plus my conditioning, you know, I have a great conditioning coach. I believe that my coaches are, I train with the top level coaches in Canada. Period. You know, so I'm very confident in my training and my coaches. and that I'll be ready for whatever he has to give me.
Okay, and right now, are you on target with your weight?
Yeah, I actually I got injured in August training, and actually I went up to 190. I'm actually dropped from 190 so I can be. I had a little dilemma with my injury and my weight, so I'm coming down for 190. My diet is good. Everything's good. It's just for me it's. I believe my philosophy in diet is 90% healthy and 10%, whatever you want. At the end of the day, we're still human. I fight. Yeah. I'm gonna be fighting the rest of my life. I'm not gonna restrict myself with enjoying, good stuff and good food in my life.
For sure.
As long as 90% I am eating healthy, I'm happy. Psychologically, you need to have that. I love sweets. I'm a sweet guy, so.
Right, I agree. For sure, man. Okay, and anything else that you'd like to promote on the show, such as your Twitter, sponsors, or website?
Yeah, well, I got any fans and people, anybody wants to support me and follow me. I got on my Facebook. I got John the Bull Makdessi. I got a fan page. On my Twitter is John Makdessi MMA. You can follow me on Twitter. I got my own website. If you guys want to check out my website, my sponsors, and I got some pictures, and you guys can, fan member can. Become a member and actually interact with me by sending me pictures and stuff and messages. I always answer to all my fans. Any questions you guys have, I'll be more than happy to answer you guys' questions. And it's johnthebull.com. That's my website. And pretty much that's it.
That's awesome, man. Well, we thank you for taking the time on Fight Week, and we'll be watching you Saturday night.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay, have a good night.
Have a good night. Bye.
Okay, bye.